Good morning, YouTube. This is JB Hertzler with Hertzler Capital and Sun Worshipper Sunscreen and World Broadcast Channel Report. I wanted to get in touch with you this morning and just go over some of the crypto news, the gold and silver, what's going on in the news, and basically kind of go over what's kind of going in the world. And the one first thing is John McAfee came out and said that if Bitcoin doesn't reach $500,000 per coin within the next 3 years, he'll eat his penis on TV, live on TV, which, I mean, that's a strong statement. And the past week, we've seen Bitcoin go from $1,900 to today it's at $2,720 right now. And Ethereum's still kind of wavering. It went down to about $170 coin, and it's back up to $221. Litecoin still hovering around the $45 mark. Still waiting for that $600 Litecoin like I saw. And Dash is really strong at 188. And in the gold and silver market, you know, it's been getting takedowns on a weekly basis. Gold's up $9.30 to $12.53 this morning, and silver's hovering around $16.43. These are amazing buys, and they're going to be, you know, eventually when things like Bank of America are shutting their customers out for a day or two, maybe like a little bank holiday because of some computer glitches. These things are going to go through the roof, and they're going to be super valuable, especially if for some reason we have some kind of, you know, collapse or some kind of war or any kind of event, some black swan or staged false flag. Those things are going to go up. Dow Jones is down to 21,563. It's down 48 points, and we all know that is really a Fed pump and dump scheme, and they're just propping up that market with mergers, acquisitions, and stock buybacks. Now, in the news, Spicer resigns as White House press secretary, and he's replaced by Anthony Scaramucci. So hopefully it'll be a better representation of Donald Trump as our president. The U.S. urges all of our nationals in North Korea to depart immediately and bans tourists from visiting. Interesting. A German judge warns as refugees flood the system with appeals, everything will collapse. Hundreds of thousands of migrants who have appealed decisions by Germany's immigration courts have brought the country's legal system to the brink of collapse. A German judge is warned, you know. Steve Bannon they're saying that he's in a self-imposed exile after he's having disputes with Trump's inner circle. Turkey is poised to invade Syria's Idlib province as inter-jihadist violence rages. Congress is planning radical plan to end illegal money. Perhaps they may unwittingly do us all a favor and fail to raise the debt ceiling. Could the dopes in Congress hatch a more radical plan to put an end to the government's illegal money? Probably only by accident, it says. It says no more cash on the sidelines. Private client cash levels drop to record low. And that's according to the latest Bank of America flow showing a report. Private client cash, i.e. high net worth individuals who still allocate capital to single stocks and electronic transfer of funds, ETFs on a discretionary basis, is now at a record low, taking out the cash levels observed in the period just prior to the last market peak in 2007. Are we seeing the similarities between 2007 and 2017? The World Trade Index tumbles towards $45 handle after tanker tracker signals OPEC supply at 2017 highs. And it's despite the bullish inventory data and demand. WTI crude just sank towards a $45 handle, red on the week, as a tanker tracking firm Petro Logistics signals OPEC crude supply is rising again this month, and it will be the highest this year. And we've seen they're calling it Carmageddon, that the demand for gasoline and people aren't driving as much because they don't have as much money. They're kind of worried about what's happening, and they're trying to save more money. The jobs aren't there, so yeah, it's an interesting time, you know. I'd love to hear any stories, if anybody has any, about their current job or what's going on with their family, if they're able to put aside money, if they're taking trips, or if they're kind of being more conservative with their money right now. Okay, so back to it. On Zero Hedge, it says Trump preparing counteroffensive, begins investigating Mueller's team for conflicts. Because as Mueller's investigation shifts its focus to Trump's personal business transactions, Trump may be preparing a counteroffensive aimed at identifying potential conflicts of interest among the people of his team in order to focus recusals. And I mean, Trump's been in business for decades, and to think that they're going to pull out some Russian collusion because he did apartment communities or different resorts with a Russian side investor, or bought some things from Russia. Again, there's no there, Okay, on German automakers tumble following bombshell cartel allegation, and their stock exchange, the DAX, slides. For more than 20 years, the German auto industry has been operating like a cartel, according to a new bombshell report, which has sent the shares of Germany's biggest automakers reeling and the DAX to session lows. And we saw that 2-3 years ago, where Volkswagen, BMW, Audi were claiming these emission standards, and they basically had a thing where you plug in the vehicle to diagnostics for smog and things like that to check emissions, and it was able to make a handshake. Hey, no problem here, everything's great. Which it was found out that it's false. Money growth supply drops. Money supply growth drops to lowest since Lehman. Lehman Brothers. Does anybody remember that? One of the oldest financial institutions in the United States, and they went belly up during the 2007 crisis, 2008. Growth in the supply of US dollars fell again in May. This time to a 105-month low of 5.4%. The last time the money supply grew at a smaller rate was during September 2008 at a rate of 5.2%. Okay, junk bonds. Junk bonds are finally starting to care about oil. In recent price action in the oil market and the stronger response of the HY energy sector has prompted many market participants to question the ability of the broader HY market to continue to resist lower prices. In our view, the bar remains high for oil prices to become the main directional driver of the HY spreads, but the risk has risen. We just talked about that with higher supplies from OPEC and the Carmageddon. Sergei Lavrov, the defense minister from Russia, on Zero Hedge, it says, Lavrov scoffs at Western media. Trump and Putin may have met multiple times in the bathroom. Headlines ripped across social media. The Russians admit Trump and Putin may have met more than 3 times, sparking an instant "I told you so" from the left, providing conspiracy of collusion is correct. However, we note that the source of this news story, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, compared these conversations to children mingling at a kindergarten, making fun of an NBC reporter and adding, maybe they met in the toilet. Translation, right? A trader tells new volatility sellers, come on in, the water's warm. And his message to all those new quant fund volume sellers, come on in, the water's warm. Glad to have your new supply keeping implieds low. Don't worry, I am sure that the returns of the next 8 years of commodity volatility selling will be just as good as the last 8 years of equity index volatility selling. Yeah, when did chasing the previous decade's best return strategy not work? Let's see. And the euro surges to a 2-year high in a bipolar Draghi reaction. Futures are flat. Draghi tried to talk the euro down, even going so far as to suggest that the ECB's quantitative easing could be increased and prolonged, said the Swiss quote bank's Jan Quellen. But the currency markets were not buying Draghi's line, and neither are we. Available bonds are too scarce, and turn to taper is too clear to disguise. And then Elon Musk is out there, and it says, government's flabbergasted after Elon Musk's most bizarre claim yet. And Musk says, just received verbal government approval for the Boring Company to build an underground New York, Philadelphia, Baltimore, DC Hyperloop. And New York City responds and says, this is news to City Hall. Chechnya's leader claims that Russian doomsday device is activated. Ramzan Kadyrov, the leader of Chechnya, gave a rare interview to the media outlet in the United States that aired Tuesday, and what he said is taking many aback. In Greece, they've been having austerity and limit on the amount of money that they can pull out of an ATM, which is why we always say, hey, let's have some extra money put aside just in case, that something happens, because, if you're only allowed to take out $60 or $100 a day, and you have thousands in there, what happens if a Bank of America glitch happens? So this article says, anarchists raid Bank of Greece in downtown Athens. And security measures in the building of Bank of Greece in downtown Athens are not as good as they should be, they say. I was in Greece in 2006, and I was asking local business owners, restaurant owners, about how excited they were to be on the euro instead of the drachma. And they were saying that everything that they were buying doubled overnight, and it was really hurting their business. And I saw that, where I was in Europe years before the euro had taken place, and all the individual monies, and the purchase power of the dollar was amazing. And then when I went back in 2006 and 2007, I could see that the purchase power had dropped significantly. see. And then they're saying the worst ideological enemy of U.S. is now Europe. Americans therefore would do well to understand that for the time being, the cultural left is so deeply entrenched in Western Europe and the EU that their worst ideological enemy is not the Middle East or Russia, it's Europe. Also, just wanted to thank everybody. Please subscribe, give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down, hopefully a thumbs up. And hopefully you like this video. Share it with your friends and family. Be prepared. Stock up food and supplies. I saw this one report where, you know, I mean, one of the things is to have plenty of toilet paper. I mean, most people aren't thinking about having plenty of toilet paper if there's a downturn. And basically have plenty of food and water. At least 3 weeks, a month worth of those things. Keep it in your car, keep a bug out bag in your car. If something happens, you're always prepared. And always have maybe hiking and camping gear in your house, so if you have to go out and kind of get away from the cities or whatever, at least you're prepared and you're not strapping your tent or carrying that and your sleeping bag and all this other stuff and your food. You at least can put it on your back. Anyway, well, that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching. This is JB with Sun Worshipper Sunscreen, Hertzler Capital, and World Broadcast Channel. Be prepared, please, for your friends and family. Love and light to all. God bless us all. Thank you.